because you would think that when you're on the road and you have your own gear, your own trailer, your own people, everything's going to work fine every day. Not the case. Definitely don't expect that to happen.
No.
Well, I got to come up here to the haunt to get into some rehearsal, get into some things with some of my friends up here. Adam, which you'll see, I had a great interview with Adam Coomes, and caught up with Eddie as well. We were talking about our Pantera biz and our other stuff. But man, it's been cool hanging out with Philip here at his haunt. He had a big show last night here, and he's having another one tonight. I'll be working with COC in town, so I won't be able to come out for the nighttime part of it. But man, I was the guinea pig when they did the first official walkthrough, and it was a blast. It was so crazy. But man, I'll miss leaving here. It's been really cool. It's been a blast. The haunt, it's pretty special and pretty mind blowing. And I don't know, I can't even start to describe it. I certainly can't videotape the whole thing, and or any of it really. It's Philip's thing, man. It's to be out here to see it is a big deal, and it's the biggest crazy haunt thing that I've ever even seen or been a part of, or even knew could be. So many ghouls and demons and things that are moving, and go, a werewolf tent, the Dracula world. I don't know, can't even describe it, but perhaps y'all will have a chance to see some video of it, depending on what Philip and Kate decide, everybody gets to see. But it sure is special to be out here and be one of the guests that get to come see all this. So, all right, going back into town. We got one more COC rehearsal before we leave for the boat tomorrow. So that's gonna be good. We've been hitting it really hard, and we've had 2 really good days, solid, of jamming, and we get another one today. So yeah, here we go. New COC bass player. It's been good. I'm gonna take the rest of the day. I'm gonna get some better video of our little rehearsal room and stuff, and just try to take y'all along on this crazy adventure that's half COC rehearsal and half haunt. It's pretty cool. I will certainly miss all the fun fellas and ladies that are going to be out here tonight enjoying the haunted house. But all right, y'all. Catch up with you with some more COC business, because now I'm able to officially tell everybody that I'm in the band and that I'm playing bass. So I think there's going to be an official announcement before we get on the boat, but 3 shows next week on the cruise. So thanks, Lamb of God, Headbangers Boat, for having COC, and thank you, COC, for having me. So, okay, back on the other side of the bridge, back to rehearsal. We're getting it right for the boat shows. All right. I'm sitting here with Adam Coomes. Bad motherfucker, boy. He's been around, that I know. He's been around the Down Camp a long time, and he's certainly been around Philip and this whole planet for a long time. And he's a super tech. He's a super tech for Hank 3, Avid Brothers, Down. We work together with Down and Superjoint together, and I'm basically calling him the Housecore haunt super tech. So Adam, man, I doesn't matter where we start the story, but man, look at you out here taking care of this crazy haunt.
Yes, we did the Down tour where I was teching for you, and they brought me back here afterwards, and Philip was like, hey, you can fix things, you want to fix a prop, and then next thing you know is all of this madness and mayhem. And
that's right.
Spend most of my spare time constructing and fixing and repairing props.
Yes.
And animatronics.
He fixes all the moving ghouls.
Everything that moves and howls,
the Draculas
and crawls.
And oh my God. So the haunt is the craziest thing ever. I'm not that well versed on haunted houses, but this is the most intense one I've ever seen. and Adams works on it every year, and that's why we're here together with the haunted house behind us. But Adam, you for these viewers, I mean, they're interested in the world of teching and what goes on, and I'd like to bring up something we were talking about, which was Hank 3's guitar rig, which is the most intense thing I've ever heard. So I'd like to start with that story, because that rig is too much.
The last, when he started doing the ADD and the Doom set and started doing the 3-bar ranch stuff,
Right.
he ended up acquiring most of Sleep's original backline. So all of the green cabs,
Yeah.
and a few other bits and pieces. And he had pieced together this rig at his house, and we had to get it out of the house and into the venues. And you started with him, and his guitar selection was slim. He only carried like 4 electrics out. It was nothing extravagant, nothing deep on that. But
Right.
for the setup for that rig, guitar into the pedal board that he ran, which was down by the mic stand, some rats and a couple of octaves and some whatnots, tuner, wah pedal.
Yeah.
And then that fed back behind the guitar wall into the secondary pedal board that I ran, and it had noise gate, some splitting options where all the signal where it was going, a couple other small little boosts for just some solo stuff here and there. And then that's where it split out into the mayhem. There were the 2 415 cabinets that were on either side of the drum riser. So that was the 2 greens from Al from Sleep, and those were running a Mad Amp that was one of like 13
Yes.
into a vintage 70s orange slave unit, and that ran the 2 415s. And then next to those on either side were green 2 412s on each side, and each of those stacks, one was run by a white custom electric 120 watt head, the other was run by a green electric 120 watt head. Then on either side of that was 2 more 412 stacks, and those were varied. They had we were using 2, I believe it was might have been Sound City, and 2 Mesas, and those were running a 5150 ran one side, and a Randall RG120 ran the other. Jeez. And then also out of the split on the secondary pedal board was another signal that ran over to a rack on the other side of the drum riser. That rack had a couple of power amps in it and a subharmonic generator, and that ran 3 PV18 subs that were
18
scattered across the stage, and then a Serwin Vega 21 that was run up at front of house for the people that were in the back of the room.
Yeah.
And that was one guitar player for one rig.
God. I mean, that was
fun. That was fun.
Okay.
I got to give a shout out to Joel from Electric Amps on that, because he built the white and the green amp.
All right.
And we had passed through Spokane, and he came out and got a full listen to the rig and got his approval on the sound.
Okay.
So that was a monstrosity
that
of
is
a guitar setup.
2 or 3 bands worth of gear just for a guitar. For Hank.
Sounded it didn't matter what the room was.
Right.
Although we did roll into the 930 Club, which is famous for its sub-array.
Okay.
And its massive low end.
Yes.
Walked in with 3 PV 18-inch subs, and they looked at us and they're like, "You do realize that you're at the 930 Club?" And we're like, "Yeah, but this is just the guitar rig." And they looked at us like, "Okay."
Oh, no.
Sounded great.
It's too much.
Sounded great.
Man, those must have been some crazy tours, some awesome times, and a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
That's a lot of stuff, man.
Dedicated people, and everybody made it happen.
It's true.
And that makes it worth it.
Absolutely, right?
It really does.
Yeah, man. Well, I know from that, with many other gigs, I'm sure, but I think Avid Brothers is one of the most amazing gigs. An amazing band. What a great band. And then you were the
I was
tech.
the only tech.
The guy taking care of.
They had, starting on stage left was the fiddle player, who she also played electric guitar. There was a piano, or actually that was a keyboard riser, and that had a Hammond B3 on it, a Yamaha electric piano, a couple of synths, varied depending on what the set was for that run.
Right.
Then there was the drum riser, which had full drum kit, octapad, some triggers here and there. And then the next one over was the piano. There was a upright shell that had electric piano in it. And then coming back across the front was the bass player. He played upright, played electric on some songs, had a viola that he snuck in every once in a while. Oh, and I forgot the name of it, but the Mexican big belly.
Oh, bajo sexto? 6 strings?
Four,
okay.
maybe. Anyway, that guy snuck in on a couple of songs, and then the elder of the brothers, stage center, he was banjo, electric guitar, acoustic guitar,
Man.
Ukulele occasionally.
Man.
And then the younger brother, Seth, who I ended up working exclusively for once we got some more help on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
But he did acoustic, electric, and occasionally ukulele. And and there was also downstage hi-hat for Seth, and then downstage kick drum for Scott, which that was their big start and beginning before they actually had a full-time drummer.
Okay. Man, talk about a lot of work again. But man, it's amazing to me because usually techs are very specified to their thing. I'm a drum tech, I'm a bass tech, I'm an electric guitar tech. I don't know how to do acoustics, or I'm just this, just that. But man, you have the ability to do anything for anybody, any instruments. I mean, how did you acquire such skills? I mean, did you play all these instruments at one time?
No, actually, when I started, you know, local bands and helping everybody load in and out 7 bands on a gig, you know, and you just started doing that. And then fast forward a few years, my cousin, Nashville Pussy, and 9 Pound Hammer, Wayne Cartwright and Roger Size. Anyway, they had hollered at me, was like, hey, you got some time off, come out, and we know you know how to do, we've seen you carry stuff.
Okay.
And you're a drummer, so we know you can set the drums up.
Yeah.
That's what we need help with. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Then that led into this, and I didn't actually start learning to play guitar until I had to start doing sound check.
Okay. Damn.
For some of these artists.
Well, there it is.
So they were like, what do you mean you don't know how to play guitar? I was like, I can fix them.
Yeah.
I was like, I can set them up, and it'll play like a dream, but I don't know what a chord is.
Oh, Adam.
But the guitar is flawless. Here you go.
Right.
And they're like, okay, well, here's how you do the chord, and here's...
Yeah.
So Andy Gibson, Hank 3, taught me my first 3 chords.
Oh, man.
He's like, yeah, man, you gotta play guitar and sound check. And I was like,
right.
All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. Playing guitar and sound check. So
well, that's so great.
And then and that was the Hank 3, and you can, and we and Kate were talking about that the other night. That was like if anybody had worked with Hank 3 at any point in time, you could pretty much guarantee that they would know their shit. It was all hands on deck all the time for everything, and everybody pitched in, and if you could make it through that without killing yourself, then you were good to go for just about anything. Just
anything, that's true. I mean, we joke around it, you know, we call it combat or whatever, you know, a heavy day and heavy, like, here we go. But it's a friendly battle. You know, we joke around that it's a combat and it's a battle, but there's so much going on that if you don't have your wits about you, you miss out on something, and I forgot this or I forgot that, and it'll mess up a song or a moment or something. And Adam is just all over everything like that. So the mind of this guy to just stay on top of all this stuff is amazing. And the fact that you can do so many different instruments and so many, you know, different types of things, it's I guess you just have such a natural knack for electronics and plumbing.
Yeah, it's
chords and plumbing.
Most everything, it's
yeah.
Wiring everything up is plumbing.
Yeah.
Keeping everything tight and neat so you can get in and out, and then everything else is electrical, guitars and whatnot. So,
right.
And props.
Well, yeah.
Props and props
Get
and
into
props
that
and props.
in a little bit, but something about teching that I've noticed a lot of people can keep it calm and can keep it together, and I've never seen them holler, stress, or anything. Maybe I just wasn't in the room at the time, but dude, there's very few people like him that, you know, the chaos is happening, and he's just looking over it with a stern face, like, okay, and he just susses it out. Because that's what it takes to really to be a tech on that level is when you panic, the artist panics and everybody's losing it.
That's the truth.
Right. And if
keep
you
them
don't,
calm.
yeah.
And sometimes all they need to do is look over and just see you being
Yes.
like, ah, well, he's fine, so everything's fine, and I'm good.
Absolutely, and that's a big thing, and I really like to bring up that point because that's something I experienced playing guitar when Adam was working with Down. That's like, man, just look over at him. He's just thumbs up. Okay, cool. If I thought I heard something weird, look over. He's like, okay, cool. And I certainly do that for Rex. You know, he'll freak out on something, look at me, a question mark face, and I'm like, you got it, man. This is cool. Or a pop will happen, or something will happen. But you know, again, the calm that we have keeps the calm on deck, and the artist can focus on where the hell they're at and what they're trying to do. But yeah, Adam has lots of stories about lots of crazy gear that he's built, and pedal boards and gear and stuff. And we were talking about all kinds of stuff today, like a 3D printer to fix banjo parts and stuff like that.
Somebody's going to open up an Avid Brothers banjo one day and wonder, where the hell and what the hell is that?
That's right. What the fuck, man?
So, yeah, I'm not sure they even realize some of that stuff. There, but it worked.
Yeah. So how long you been on the road doing this biz?
Started full time like nothing else, but started touring full time in 2007.
Okay.
And did that up until 21, essentially full time, and then 21 just did a couple of runs here and there, and nothing extravagant. Short runs, fill in things, local gigs.
Sure, I imagine that you are one of the first phone calls that a lot of people make.
Yeah, and one thing that is good too is I can still get into Canada.
Yeah,
which is a big thing.
That's good. That's excellent.
So yeah, that helps out a lot. I've gotten a lot of short fill-in run gigs just for being able to get into Canada. So that worked out well.
That's excellent.
But yeah, so 7 to 21 full time, so 14, almost 15 years.
That's a lot of years, man, to put into something.
And yeah, that was a lot of years without a day job.
Yeah.
Not big on the day job.
No, people like us, we just don't do well like that for whatever reason.
No.
You know, we just are able to survive on and get the good gigs because we keep striving for better, and then the vans turn into buses, and buses will turn into flights and such, you know, and you've experienced it all because you're so good at what you do. I get a lot of questions about how do we get into this business, and I think it's obvious that from what you just said, you came from a tech side of things. Whereas my whole introduction to this was I'm a musician, and since I had the skills to play, I could handle teching for somebody. And so you and I approached it from different places, but at one point we were working together for Superjoint, and then here we are, you know, doing the same gig and being brothers on the road. And I don't know, I don't mean to generalize this, but a lot of younger kids watch this, and I'm calling y'all kids because I'm late 50s, but how do you do it? How do you get in it? And how do you go about things? What advice would you have to somebody watching this that's like, man, I really want to tech, but how do I approach it?
If you're wanting the first thing, first I got a job offer for nepotism because of my cousin. But the second thing I did was ordered Dan Erlewine's guitar how-to repair book, which is yay thick, and it's wonderful. And read that basically in the floorboard of the van for first run, and that was the biggest thing to help for adjustments and whatnot. But I guess as far as background goes, getting into it, anything mechanical or electrical would practically guarantee you a job on the road, because there's always lighting. If you're an electrician or if you've got any kind of electrical background,
Right.
Lighting and anybody or audio. Everybody needs, especially on bigger tours. You've got an E2, then all they're doing is running cables and checking stuff.
Yeah.
So if you've got any kind of a background in mechanical or electrical, and then as far as getting your foot in the door, I hate to say it, but it's almost knowing somebody.
It is.
It really is. And or if you're in a big enough city where you've got lots of bands that are coming through, doing festivals, working backstage,
Yes.
doing small shows. If they've got like the metal bands, eight metal bands showcase on a Saturday, come in and just help load gear. And I got so many gigs that were jump ups because of I was working with the opening band or the local opener.
Right.
And they saw me working on stage and what I was doing and how I was handling things. And like you were saying, sometimes you just need the look of calm and everybody else calms down.
That's true.
And they're like, hey, you want a job? And I'm like, yes, I do.
That's
and
exactly right. That's
that
great
just
advice.
Steps up just like that, you know. And then the guys that are in the band are opening for the guys in the bus, and the guys in the bus are like, hey, if you've got some time off, time between gigs.
That's right.
There's been so many that were just because of that.
That will lead directly to my biggest piece of advice for people coming into it is to shadow somebody. If you know somebody or you friend up to them, that's how I learned to do live sound at a club. It's like how I learned to do a lot of things. It's like, hey man, do you mind if I hang out with you? I'll stay out of your way. If I could get anything for you, I'd just like to observe and watch. And for the most part, you'll get cats. If you run into cats like us, we'll be like, sure, man, sure. You hang out and just watch. Stay out of my way, but check it out. And then some cats would be like, no way, you know, I can't have anybody here, and that's fine. You got to respect that if they're like that. But certainly shadowing, and geez, like you said, man, if you know your electronics and plumbing. When we say plumbing, we're talking about the cables going into the inserts, sends, returns, master outs, ins, inserts. You know, you learn that from a 12-channel Mackie board that you pick up at a pawn shop or something. You know, we came into the game before digital, so we're used to big boards with long strips, and you know, channel 1 is that whole fucking strip, you know, and 2, and you learn to think linear. But nowadays with the digital everything, it's kind of patching. But internal plumbing. Instead of physically pushing and pulling cables, you know, you're sending and returning, inserting with the push of a button, and which is fine because I think most of the younger cats, even watching this or trying to get into the biz, are more apt to that kind of thing because of
and that's
computers.
You're talking about the internal plumbing thing, and that would be something that the next generation trying to get into the business, if you can program all of that stuff, especially like the helix and boards and stuff like that, XFX, all that stuff, if you're proficient in being able to patch and make sure that stuff is operating and you can back it up and duplicate your settings.
That's it.
Because most of the artists that I've worked for, they've got their sound and they know their sound. If you handed them some random, like, gear doesn't make it, there's an accident, the backline that you ordered doesn't show up, or you've just got to make do with what you have. And they've got, well, I've got my little helix, etc. That
quad cortex.
If you can go in and get the sound dialed in on that one, you are going to be so much better off. Because
it's true.
And most people that own them, they know a few things. There are a few presets they use, or there are a few settings they use. And if you give them one out of the box, they have no idea how to get to that.
That is another great point. Because you would think that when you're on the road and you have your own gear, your own trailer, your own people, everything's going to work fine every day. Not the case. Definitely don't expect that to happen. And wow, what a great point. Because XFX, Quad Cortex, there are so many things now that your new artists will be having those, and it's not a Marshall and a Tube Screamer anymore.
It is not.
And
there's been festivals. I know Devin Townsend had a festival show the laptop crashed, and
that's the show.
Ended up doing an unplugged acoustic set, which was phenomenal.
Right.
But because the laptop crashed, didn't have a backup, didn't have someone there that could bring things up quickly.
Yeah.
They had to do a whole new off the cuff. Well, I guess we're just going to do an acoustic set, which was great.
Yeah.
But again, that's that whole thing. You've got to just expect something to not work.
Yes.
And be able to do that thing quickly.
Yes.
Like if it's external plumbing, you know where your sends and your returns are, where the inputs and the outputs are, where the foot switch and everything goes.
Yeah.
And on the internal plumbing, I can bring up this preset and make these 2 tweaks and get him his sound that he needs in a matter of 30 seconds.
Right.
Instead of fishing through menus and just...
So we don't assume everyone knows what we're talking about with a Axe FX or Quad Cortex. Let's just say it's a cigar box, digital effects rack piece of gear that emulates different things. So you can pull up Marshall head. You can pull up Marshall head. You pull up your pedals, your tube screamer Marshall head. And instead of physically having the head and having the cables and the pedals, it's all in the box. And you just line them up together. I like this delay. I like this tube screamer. I like this whatever MXR distortion. You have a menu and you put the rig together digitally. And then it goes out to power and then speakers, or just the house, which is another thing that's part of the new world, is not having an amp at all on stage. In-ears and monitors. But back to those of y'all that might not know the Quad Cortex or Axe FX or whatever these things are, they're amazing. They are truly amazing, and the technology is really mind-blowing how they were able to capture these sounds. And in most cases, they literally captured them for real and then put them, made a file. And these effects are brilliant and amazing. And I've got some neural DSP stuff myself that I downloaded. Oh, it's amazing.
Neural is
just
amazing.
1,000 tones in this one program I got, which is amazing. But again, now that we're talking about kids coming up in the biz, man, there is a lot more that you should know.
There is, just on the software side of things, is gotten so much more. It's less about having a strong back to carry a SVT 810 cabinet on the stage, and more about how can I patch in. I've got a flight rack that's got my in-ears in it, and everybody's got a pedal board, small pedal board case with the whatever X effects whatever in it, and then it's like all I got to do is how do I get all the software and everything and the Wi-Fi network set up. Digital Wi-Fi network set up for all that. It's shifting that away, and
it is.
That's the new thing.
It is the new thing. And it's so prevalent now. I see it all the time because I'm out on the Pantera tours, and the biggest bands are using it. Pantera's not, because they choose to have the wall of, real speakers behind them. It's old school, and we all like that. But I was stage right working, and there was Megadeth playing before Pantera one festival, and dude had a rack. It had Quad Cortex, and it had in-ears, just like you said. And it's like, wow. Dave Mustaine used to pull in with lines of amps, lines of speaker cabs, walls of this and that. And now it's just like, I don't know, for lack of a better word to say it, suitcase, table, dunk, open it up, bump, 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 here's your guitar, go. And it is, sonic as all hell. What the difference is between having that and real amps and real speakers is air moves on stage. And when you're on deck, you hear the rigs and you hear the air move and all that. And when you're just digital, if you're standing side stage, you're not really hearing it. And you think, oh, that's weird. But that's just because the deck is quiet. And all you're really hearing is drums. But if you go out front of house, zhin, 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 you're getting it all. All the solos, all the everything is crystal clear. But on deck, again, it's quieter for the artists because they'll have in-ears, and they're not fighting a bunch of different sources for their sound.
So weird to
and
work in a show like that.
It is.
You got to run across the stage for whatever reason,
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, or a light fell. I was going to say a mic stand, but there's no cabinets. It's like, it's usually a light that's on a backdrop. So, oh, the light fell over. So you got to run out there and you're just like, drums.
Yeah.
And everybody's just jamming and you can hear front of house, but there's no, you're not walking by and getting bam, bam. Oh, it's just it's just weird.
It is weird.
Coming from
the school that we come from,
of air moving on stage and then going to that, it's just that's a different vibe.
Yeah,
that is a different vibe
completely.
But it's, I don't know, easier on the back, I guess.
So it's so true to say it's easier on the back nowadays, and more it's in the mind and it's in the teching and the programming. It's very true.
Yeah.
It's amazing bits of tech that come out seemingly every day. I mean, I'll get bombarded by Rex with YouTube videos. Check this out. Check this out. I got one. We're going to use it next show. Okay. And that's another part of the adventure is your guy or gal, whoever's playing the instrument, is excited about something in a new pedal, and you keep your excitement along with them. You know, tone chase with them, have fun. You know, I will admit that I was bugged out because when Rex started this Pantera redo, what we're doing now, he'd show up with a box of pedals. He'd be like, all right, we're gonna try all these. And I'd be like, oh shit, okay. And you know, a couple hours go by and you've taken 30, 40 pedals and whittled it down to 5 that are really cool. So at the end of the day,
and that's a lot of the fun.
It is. That's what I was getting at. At the end of the day, it's like, man, that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
And you really did get your hands on these pedals and try them and see them. And there's never been more pedals for bass now than there is.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It used to. It's like, well, you had a Sans amp.
Yeah.
And maybe a wah.
Right.
And
a
Boss tuner.
Right. Right.
Like, that was it. If somebody was like really out there, they might have an envelope filter.
Yeah.
And it was like that's it. And now you've got so many options.
So many.
And so much more than just Fender SVT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing.
Not at all. Those are great things. Well, shit, Adam, it's been such a long, hard road on the road with these bands. And now you've taken the last few years and not worked with bands, but just done the haunt.
Mainly just doing the haunt.
Yeah.
They usually come down, try to get in. It ends up being anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, excuse me, for me.
Yeah.
Coming down, make 2 trips, do initial setup, and then Philip and Kate and the Jarvi and everybody is down here doing all of everything else, and then I'll come back a week or so before the final run through, and then that's when the mayhem begins. And
right.
I think this time around there was about 50 props that were in various stages of disrepair.
Yeah.
And it's back to the electrical and the plumbing on them. It's
there it is.
Is this hot? Is it supposed to be hot?
Yeah.
No, then why is it not hot? And go through that one.
Yeah.
And
that's why Adam is so prone to this. He can fix any of these electronic things because they're literally just electronic things.
Yeah.
Sure, they're dressed up as a witch doing a crazy face, but you know, it's just a mechanic. It's just a thing. It's just a cord. It's just a little motor that does a thing. And you know, he's taken his years of electronics and just, you know, say, that's how that works. That's how it is.
Yep, and reapply it to there. And it's like, and you know, if you've got that little bit of a background, you can go into teching for guitars.
Yeah.
You can work on amplifiers. You can work on effects. You can work on props. You can get your foot in the door for, you know, like I say, shadowing people. You can get local venues is the best.
It is. It's true.
I'll help you run cables. I'll help you patch your stage.
Yeah.
Mic lines. Nobody likes patching things. And if you can be that guy that's just like, hey, I'm just here to help.
Yeah.
I'll be quiet. I'll be out of the way. Just want to shadow.
Yes.
Learn things.
Learn things just like that.
That's getting your foot in the door and getting noticed.
It's true.
And knowing, and one thing I've learned is knowing when to keep your mouth shut.
Absolutely.
And not in a bad way, but just because everybody else is having a conversation
Yeah.
you're not you don't need to jump in with your 2 cents that's
True.
unrelated.
Absolutely.
Especially if it's something serious or doing local shows, tour related. They're talking about their gig tomorrow. You don't want to be cracking jokes about the venue they're going to because you heard it's a piece of whatever. So it's
great
like
example. Yeah.
you don't want to be, oh, you're going there, blah blah blah. You want to be like, oh, you're going there. Oh, I've been there. It's a great place. You'll have a good time. Or I've never been there. I don't know. Instead of it's a shithole.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
You just, but at the same time, be helpful, but don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Yeah, I've done so much shadowing, even like when it was a recording studio I was shadowing at just to learn how to record. It was a Studer machine and a Neve board, and I walked in and I just like, can I get coffee? Can I go get sandwiches? Can I just be that guy? And I did. And through time, I was able to patch cables. They trusted me with the good mics. I put them up, and hey Bobby, I moved that mic. It's try the bottom speaker on that, and they would let me go out and set the mic. And the same thing with clubs, live shows. I'm talking about recording studio or whatever. Yes, start with a lowly job, but enjoy that lowly job. And as you're doing that, you see the other cats doing what they do, and you may be bass teching and going, fuck, I'm a drummer, but I'd rather drum tech, and you work your way into that.
Yep.
Or both, and then all of a sudden you bass and drum tech. You know, like Adam does everything.
Well, I was a drummer and started as a guitar tech, and then became stage manager, and then it was several bands before I was actually a drum tech.
Yes, yes.
So
it's great to bring up the stage manager part too, because cats like him and I, having done everyone else's job for so many years, you become stage manager because you know what's going on. You know how long that drum tech's going to take to set up the drums. You're feeling the bass guy's almost ready. The guitar player's got a few more things to do. You got a sound check at such and such time. You know everybody's job, so you're able to gather everybody and make it happen for sound check.
Yep.
And that's important too.
Right.
That's something you get to later in the game. And then of course production managing after that. And
it's like herding cats.
Yeah, it is. And God forbid you want to be a band manager. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Maybe you'll love it. Maybe you'll love it. But boy, then you got to book hotels and get the bus driver handled and all this. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. It's a crazy biz full of a lot of great, crazy people like ourselves. And man, we enjoy what we do. We stay in the game, whatever kind of game it is.
Yeah.
You know, but Adam's here doing a haunted house, but it's Philip's haunted house. We're surrounded by brothers and musicians, and everybody comes out here to see it. People come out here to hang out. Of course, this is Philip's recording studio as well, so we all gather out here to do work. Let's see, tomorrow's Friday and then Saturday. Scour is going to be playing out here Friday and Saturday. And we're trying to get COC out here for Saturday. So that'd be a double whammy, and what a great thing that would be, because COC's about to go out on a cruise and play 3 shows on a boat, the Lamb of God cruise. So getting ready for that. Man, Adam, would you like any advice or anything else to the kids coming up in the biz, or even people that have been in the biz or want to move to a different job? I don't know.
About the only thing that downtime management is another thing if you're on the road, or if you're getting your foot in the door, because you'll be, you know, especially the first tour you do, you're going to be in a van, and there's going to be lots of days where it's just 8 hours of sitting and napping or killing time or YouTubing on the phone, whatever.
Yeah.
Downtime management, that's where I learned how to work on cello. That's how I learned how to work on the viola and the fiddle, was downtime, books, YouTube videos.
Absolutely.
Because you've just got, your days are full and you're planned from time you wake up till the time you go to bed. You've got a schedule you got to stick to. But in that schedule, you've got an hour here, 2 hours there, 45 minutes here.
That's absolutely true.
Or 6 hours doing nothing in a van that you can't. And there's 8 people in there and you can't lay down, so everybody's just sitting up, and it's like, what do you do? It's like, well, I'll watch this video on how to tune drums better, or I'll watch this video on how to set up a viola, or
all the things we didn't have when we were coming up.
Yeah.
You know?
20 years ago, before YouTube, it was like, well, I got this Dan Erlewine book, which is wonderful, but now it's, you can pull up videos and how-tos and shorts on everything, and then when something breaks, as it inevitably does, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, what do we do? You're like, I know how to do that.
Right.
You jump in, and then everybody that's around it's like, oh, that guy did the thing, and he knows how to do the thing. Well, maybe we need that guy with our crew.
Right.
And everything is a stepping stone, and it's all about mainly just being around and getting your foot in the door. Once you get your foot in the door, it's real easy to just keep climbing the ladder.
It is.
Because there's just so much opportunity if you're willing to travel.
Yes.
And you're willing to put in the work.
That's right.
But the opportunity's out there.
It is out there.
Because people get burnt out, and not everybody wants to do it year round.
Absolutely.
You know.
I've quit before, like, I'm not doing it anymore. I ain't doing it anymore. I got to get back out.
Yeah.
You know, and
you take a year or two off, or whatever, or you do part-time and just a few months here and there, and then there's always openings for positions. Always people looking for people to work, and if you're good and
that's right,
good to be around and have a good positive attitude.
Yeah. Gotta love your people.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta love your people, because you're gonna be surrounded by them all the time.
Yes.
And downtime is important. Education is important, and like Adam was saying, you got YouTube now, and that's great. I mean, there's Full Sail. You can learn how to be an engineer and record. There's electronic school where you just learn electronics, and you know, there's all proper, like, vocational schools to go to for some things, but really not for stage techs.
No.
You got to just jump in. You got to know what you want and go for it.
Yeah.
And everything Adam was talking about, and everything I'm always talking about, that's it. That's how you get in. Just keep right, keep tight. And sure, back in the day, we might have been wasted all the time, stoned and drunk, but no, not anymore. That's just not how.
It's clean living now.
Yeah.
Early mornings, late nights, and how do I program this damn thing?
How do I program? Nicely done, brother. That pretty much says it all. Y'all, Adam Coomes.
Thank you very much.
What a great guest to have, and an absolute super tech.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely great to have you. All right, my man, Adam Coomes.